This.
Exactly. Sorry, 12 minutes. That is past 8. This is Mark Main's Business. Andrew Abariji. And for this particular time, this is the time when we get actually inspired. We take a look at most of the entrepreneurs that you look up to in the world of business, what exactly they're doing, and what can you actually copy, or what can you imitate, what can you learn from them. It's very important that you pick a lesson. Let's get inspired. Well, he says that failure is an opportunity to actually make it better. So, and actually, this is what creates the distinction between those that have actually made it in life and those that are actually still complaining and lamenting all the time. It's because they look at the past experiences, regardless of how they actually, regardless of what they went through, but they don't take that to define who they are. So if you let the past experiences really define who you are, you are definitely going to be like any other person in the world. You're just going to be like any mediocre, what we call mediocrity. Mediocrity and comfort zone actually move hand in hand. And how does this come about? It's more like when you encounter failure and somehow life presents another opportunity to you to actually redeem yourself. Unfortunately, you start to lament. Why are you lamenting? Because you are basing on the past experience. So the past experience, you've decided the past experience to actually define who you are. Now that is the most dangerous part any person can actually ever be at. Let's get into our other quote of the day today. Yes, the potential is actually in there in quite various sectors, in quite a various, fields, where the world is actually establishing itself to seem competitive, where countries like the United States of America, Europe are actually having a great influence. Africa also has that same influence, but it's only about the mindset that we have and all the stories that have been told about Africa, to the extent that we don't even feel, at some point, we don't feel like we are proud of being Africans, in some kind of a way. But the potential of the African market is actually very huge. And I feel like this is going to be very evident when it comes to the African continental free trade area is actually going to prove that this is very possible of the African market. The potential of Africa being united against the entire world. And that is perhaps one of the hugest debates that I've heard, that kind of united Africa suppress a united international community. How can it really surpass all that? Of course, that means it will need some allies. And when Africa becomes united, it will definitely have allies. I know that for sure, because most of them will find it as one of the greatest opportunities, for all the years that the Western world has exploited Africa. there won't be a chance as interesting. There won't be a moment as interesting as when Africa gets united. I feel like it will be quite something. It will be a very different experience. It will be a very different experience altogether. All right, now we have one more quote left, I guess. Let's review it as the last Smart Means. Have a vision, have a passion. Above all that, be persistent in everything that you do because it's never going to be easy. Like the writer says, it's never going to be easy. Leave alone the motivational speakers that actually come out to tell you things that you want to hear. And majority of them simply want you to subscribe to their different platforms. They want you to attend they normally attend organized dinners. Let me say that. They organize dinners, partners, dinners, and they want you to be a part of that. And for you to be with them, you have to pay a certain amount of fee. You have to pay a certain amount of fee. So that is at some point they can be a little bit misleading, by the way. And there has been one of these days, I think, on Smart Means Business, shall get some time and talk about it. There is a tendency of the industry that has actually rose up, due to the availability of social media now, whereby any person can actually create content out there and release it out there at any time, at any moment. There has been a set of people that have actually, they come from a perspective of motivational speakers. And, they tell you all these sorts of beautiful things and all that. But if you're to question yourself to some degrees that, do these people really live, do they really live the things that they profess on social media? That is the biggest question. There is a lot of people that have marched into that. And that is a full industry, by the way. And they're making lots of money online. Because when you subscribe, whenever they post something, you subscribe, and they make a lot of money from that. But they don't really mean what they say. They're just playing around, They're just playing around. All right, now, other quotes, those were the Smart Means Business quotes of the day. Now, as we're proceeding to other quotes here, we can see this is Maya Rudolph. Maya Rudolph says that when I first moved to New York City, someone who thought they knew more than I did said they have to always look like you know where you're going when you get out of the subway. Like you have to look like you know where you're going. This is what it says. In other words, it's trying to tell you, you don't pretend like you know it all. It's okay to accept that I don't know, I need help, help me out here. Okay, and now Diana Rose says that instead of looking at the past, I put myself ahead of 20 years and try to look at what I need to do now in order to get there done. What I need to do now, that's what I was trying to address. If you let the past define you, then you're gone. You're gone. And remember, one of the key aspects that I found challenging, in this world is that we don't have time. And it matters whatever little time we have on earth, what do we use it to? What do we use to execute? What do we execute in that little time? It's very important and it speaks a lot. All right, now, proceeding along, Bill Clinton says that nobody will actually believe you and people will actually think you're a scum. Now, George, this is Stephanopoulos, to a revival, a political operative who was actually considering spreading a rumor about then the presidential candidate, that is Bill Clinton. This was in 1992. Yeah, that is there. Nobody will believe you and people will actually think you're a scum. Yeah, and that is very true. And this is actually being witnessed in most cases when, let me say, you say that you're coming up with something like, You have a dream that you're chasing. You have a project that you're trying to execute, and you're trying to bring people on board. Majority of the people are actually gonna think that you're a scammer, and that's how majority leave out opportunities. They skip opportunities repeatedly, repeatedly skipping opportunities, passing over, like how somebody said the word poor, P-O-O-R, passing opportunities repeatedly, I think something like that. Yeah. Now, I'll still proceed along. This is Ashley Harrell. He says that dirty toilets, muddy shoes, and flooded tanks won't stop the party at the Burning Man. What he's trying to tell you is that regardless of the economic conditions, regardless of the tragedies, that are happening in a country, it's not a guarantee that actually it should let you down in terms of what you're pursuing. It could be running a business, for example, like in Uganda today, where we have the interest rates literally are not friendly at all. But despite all that, we have people that have managed to succeed in running businesses in this country. How are they doing that? Because I feel like in most cases, if we feel and believe that the government is actually responsible 100% for our well-being, what if the government never does what it's supposed to do for the next 30 years? Does it mean that we shall sit down and not do anything? Well, you gotta do something, Yeah, that's why she says that dirty toilets, muddy shoes, and flooded tents won't stop the party from burning. Regardless of that, the party has to take place. So regardless of that, you have to do what you have to do. You have to do the investments, make that money. You never know. It's never easy. One of the quotes somebody said, have a vision, have a goal, be persistent. It's never gonna be easy. Nobody ever said it's gonna be easy. Now, Thomas Huxley says that the rung of the ladder was never meant to rest upon, but only to hold a man's foot long enough to enable him to put the other somewhat higher. Oh, that's a little complex. I have to say it that way. But anyway, we shall review it sometime. And finally, an innovation will get traction only if it helps people get something that they are already doing in their lives done better. And if I may relate this to the Karibu East Africa story, when we take a look at the funding winner for the startups in Africa, and what is that thing that the startups can actually do differently? Because when I talk about startups, I'm talking about innovations. So what is that you can do differently? Someone here says that an innovation will only get traction if it helps people to get something that they're already doing in their lives, to help them do it better. So it's not about the composition of your innovation, but it's about the end user. I've always talked about this, and that's why among the advice that has been given to people that are running startups, if you're to really position yourself efficiently for the funding that is circulating, do things differently. And one of the emphasis was put on communication. It's really been proven that majority of the innovators are not good at communication skills. They don't communicate well, they're not confident. And this is not about code. It's not about how good you are at mastering algorithms, but how smart are you when it comes to signing a business deal, when it comes to closing a business deal? And that's why actually majority say that programmers are broke. Why? Because they're not good at cutting these deals. That's where the actual business is. Recently, a friend of mine told me, is with the office of the president, and was telling me that I've come to realize that when it comes to this innovation, the skill you have, okay, if you are well equipped with the programming skills, very wonderful. But the actual business is actually in the boardroom. How do you sit down and close a business with the people that want to fund your startup? That is what is going to actually determine how far your startup can actually go. You may not really have the best codes in terms of your program, but you could be well at, You could be good at communicating. You could be having some, good communication skills, and that is actually going to bail you out because you will be able to convince the person that is planning to fund you, and through that is you show him that the project you're building is actually meant to help the people to solve the day-to-day problems. You don't tell him how you took 10 years to program this. Who cares about the 10 years you spent trying to program something which can't solve a problem? It must be able to solve the problem. It's not about the composite. I'll repeat this. Regardless of the innovation that you put out there, it's not about how much code is into that project, but how easy can it help the common person? That's what matters, because the person that is funding you is looking at that lower market, the down market. It's not looking at complicated programs. It's looking at solutions to the down people. So that should be the focus when building some of these programs. Well, let's go for the break, and I'm returning with entertainment. We shall be taking a look at what are the movies that are going to be trending. I understand it's a weekend time, and every person is actually thinking, what do I need to check out? I'll be really taking you through what are those movies to really check out. But the most important thing here in Smart Means Business, we review it from the side of the business. We take a look at the movies that are actually making money, that you should actually take time and also check them out. Stick around.